Hey, good morning, everyone. Michael Fanning, and this is warm up 221. And today we're doing the fourth item that Benjamin Hardy talked about when it comes to becoming your future self and working on your personality, right? And so, if you remember, it was trauma, and then from trauma, we went to your narrative. From your narrative, we went to your subconscious. From your subconscious, we moved to now your environment. I want you to think about your environment. I want you to think about the environment that you create for your future self, or do you have an environment created for your past self? So in here, there's three things he talks about. He talks about what's called strategic remembering, strategic ignorance, and forcing factors. But a couple things just to start off with. The first thing is this: there was a study that they did, and there was a doctor that basically took T cells, right, our cells from our body, and created two environments: a hospitable environment and a non-hospitable environment. And in the environment that was healthy, in a healthy environment, those T cells grew the things they were supposed to grow, things like bone and skin, right? In the environment that was unhealthy, those T cells grew cancer. And so a lot of what we do and how we show up is built by our environment. Think about this: if you're a parent, right? The way you treat a child is how you see the child. And the way you see the child is who that child will become. I want you to think about that. It's really important. And then so as we go through this, a couple things that he talked about is first of all, let's dive into strategic, sorry about the cars that will go by. He talked about strategic remembering. So what is strategic remembering? It's a life design, right? If you think about how are you every single day reminding yourself of where you want to go, or are you reminding yourself of where you've come from? Just look around your house, for example. What do you have on your walls? Are they things from your past glory days, or are they things that are pushing you forward in who you want to become and what you want to do, right? Or things that you have done that have been peak experiences that you want to have more of. I'll give you an example of what strategic remembering is. We are very forgetful beings. We forget all kinds of things all the time. And I know when I do coaching, there's people say, oh, I remember we talked about that. I totally forgot about that. So for me, strategic remembering is my life design, right? I look at that every single morning. That's strategic remembering. Strategic remembering for me is my 5-minute journal. Because these two things collectively are pushing me to my future self. Right? Every single day they're reminding me of who I want to become, not who I have been, right? So how are you right now, if you think about it, how are you developing strategic remembering? What are the things that you're doing? And what we call they're triggers that move you forward, right? To your future. So the things that you see or the things that you do, are they triggers that are moving you backwards, or are they triggers that are moving you forward? What is your strategic remembering? Okay, that's number one. Number two, strategic ignorance. What is that? Do you know that most information in the world today is garbage? Most of the things that we choose to expose ourselves to on a frequent basis, almost every 12 minutes, is garbage. Social media, TikTok, Instagram, right? What is that? What is that? Is that information? What happens is we lead ourselves down a path of what is called decision fatigue. And decision fatigue, or overloaded choices, leads to FOMO, a fear of missing out, leads to anxiety, leads to what we call comparison inferiority complex, right? It's crazy. So what strategic ignorance means is there just stuff today that you can stop exposing yourself to. So for example, the news. I don't watch the news through decision, right? Somebody wants to tell me how many COVID deaths are happening right now. I get it. I'm not lessening the severity of COVID. But here's the thing: how does my knowledge today of the COVID deaths benefit me and push me to my future self? It doesn't, right? Here's what I know. I know enough to watch the news to know that, hey, I got to cover my face. I got to be respectful of other people. I got to do social distancing, and I've got to kind of stay out of the public, right? Because I don't want to be a person who spreads it. But knowing the death count, how does that help me? How does watching the news help me? I pick up little bits and pieces, but the thing about it is called strategic ignorance. It's not that I don't want to know, it's that there's stuff that I know in my mind that I don't need to know. I don't need to know what the movie stars are doing today. Right? I don't need to know certain things. And so I choose to build my world based on information that I want to take in that I know is going to propel me to my future self. How many of you, right, and be honest with yourself, how many of you have set up strategic ignorance? What are your choices, right? Are you leading yourself down decision fatigue? Think about that. Think about the things that you could be doing differently in your life to give you strategic ignorance. Okay? And then the last one that he talked about is force functions. What are forced functions? Forced functions are when you put yourself into a situation that requires you to perform, right? It forces you. So I'll give you some examples. I have coaching. I pay for coaching. I pay for big chunks of coaching up front. Why? Because I have skin in the game. It's a force function. If I'm paying for it, I'm committed to it, right? If I'm paying for it, I'm committed to it. Publicly saying that you're going to do something. Publicly saying, you know what? By this date, I'm going to lose this amount of weight. By this date, I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to go do that. You know, I remember when I did my Spartan race, and there was a bunch of buddies of mine that we were all talking together. We were sitting at a breakfast table. We said, hey, we should do a Spartan race. No, we should sign up and pay for a Spartan race. You guys, that is a force function, because as soon as we all signed up and paid, guess what? We're doing it. So I want you to think about how many things do you in your life push to what we call a force function. Because here's what I will tell you. If you do not control your environment will control you. That's how it works. You guys read the book, Personalities in Per Minute by Benjamin Hardy. Great stuff. I highly recommend it. And look, today, guess what I have? I have my balance board. So I'm going to jump on it real quick for you guys. Let's see how it works. Okay, here we go. Up and at 'em. Okay. There we go. Look at this control. All right. Down I go. Okay, here we go. Up again. The deck is wet, so you can see that when it gets wet, it also affects. Look at me making excuses now. Shouldn't be doing that, right? If you want to argue in favor of your limitations, you can keep your limitations. I love that saying. All right. Anyways, you can see it's kind of dialed in. There we go. Boom. All right. Hey, everyone. Make it a great day. Be awesome and help somebody. Vote. All right. I'll talk to you later.